Welcome back, everybody. I'm attempting to cut down my caffeine consumption. I was talking with Steve Solomon the other night, and he said that I might just be borrowing energy from other places or something by drinking so much coffee. He recommended I cut back and see how I do. So I'm drinking tea instead. Anyhow, thanks for all coming by and watching my exciting video on the living fence. I really appreciate all the great comments on my singing, and I'm glad that all of you enjoyed that song so very much, even to the point where some of you actually bought the 21-minute public song. Thank you. That is, I don't see it necessarily on the same level as Handel's Messiah, but it definitely repeats a lot, and Handel's Messiah also has some repetitive portions. So, on that fence, let's take a look at the fence, and I will try to answer your questions on construction and on some alternatives for living fences in climates that are not the deep tropics. Let's get some, in a minute I'll go. This fence is made of Gliricidia sepium. It's also called Madre de Coco, or Madre de Cacao, which means basically mother of cocoa, because it was planted on cocoa plantations to shade the young cocoa trees in hot tropical climates. It grows quickly, it provides some shade, and it is a nitrogen fixing tree, so it's got multiple benefits to it. It also has the remarkable ability to root when you just stick a little piece of it in the ground. So all of these little pieces right here, those are going to root and they will become trees. Over time, where I've tied them together with vines, they should rub together and actually graft together naturally and join into one living fence. Now, if I left this fence alone completely, there is the possibility that it could get really tall and become a big mess, but I'm not going to do that. And over time, as you prune it and cut it at the height you want, you'll be fine. It'll start to come under control. I've seen old fences with thick posts of this and barbed wire just wrapped into and grown around that are standing after a long period of time. Life expectancy is about 60 years. The fence may not last quite that long. Depends on what happens and how persistent a bull would be on getting through it. But within a month or so, these should start growing. They're going to start pretty quickly putting on some little buds of growth here, but the rooting doesn't really happen until later. It can be a few months before roots. After about 6 months to a year, this is going to be a solid fence. So if we can keep it from blowing down and keep it tightly together until then, we ought to do fine. Now, as for what plants you could do a living fence slash hedge in your climate, if you are in a temperate zone and you have enough water, willow has traditionally been used to build living fences like this. So willow is an option for temperate areas with enough rainfall to support willow. You could do the same thing, cut the sticks, put them in the ground, and they root. Some people have said that mulberry, some varieties of mulberry, you can just ram branches in the ground and they'll root. I have never found that to be the case with mulberry, but your mileage may vary. Other opportunities for this, if you are in South Florida or if you're in the Caribbean, the gumbo limbo tree, you can ram a branch in the ground and it'll root. The purple mambin tree, which is a small fruiting tree with very nice fruit, you could use that. You could also use Aurelia, certain species of Aurelia. My dad used to just stick branches in the ground where he wanted an instant hedge, and it would grow up, and you could probably just put them at angles or do whatever you wanted to. It's not as strong. This tree here, Gliricidia, is actually really good for making charcoal, and I mean, it's probably strong enough to make tool handles and other things out of it. It has very hard wood on the hardness scale. And Aurelia is a very soft wood, but it'll do the same thing. It'll make a barrier. You could do this with moringa as well and get a soft hedge. least to delineate a barrier nicely. Plus you could eat the top of it, so there is that. Anyhow, this is just a few answers on my hedge, my living fence hedge. There's probably a better name for it, but I didn't feel like researching before I talked to y'all. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Catch me on the web at thesurvivalgardener.com, where I post every single day. And until next time, may your thumbs always be green.
I went to see David the Good. We listened to Portishead and drank spiced rum.
Thinking of trying out for the part of Moses in a remake of the Ten Commandments. About midnight I will go through this land, and every firstborn in Egypt shall die.